helicopter flew low over the Arizona desert, not over Pima County where Nancy Guthrie disappeared, over a neighboring county, miles away, remote terrain where roads end and sand begins. Inside a signal sniffer, technology designed to detect one thing, Nancy's pacemaker, the device in her chest that keeps her heart beating, the device that broadcasts constantly, the device that says, "I am here," even if Nancy cannot. They were not searching randomly. They had coordinates. Cell tower coordinates. Precise, specific. Digital breadcrumbs left by a phone connecting to towers the night Nancy vanished. Data that said, "Look here." The mission brief was explicit. Search this location. Use the signal sniffer. Look for a body. Not Nancy alive. A body. Day 30. 1 month since an 84-year-old grandmother disappeared from her home at 1:47 a.m. 1 month since a masked man appeared at her door with a gun and a backpack. 1 month since her pacemaker stopped transmitting at 2:28 a.m. And now, law enforcement is searching the desert with coordinates. Because after 30 days, hope and probability are no longer the same thing. Before we examine what those coordinates mean and why investigators believe they know where to look, before we discuss what signal sniffer technology reveals and why cell tower data matters, before we explore how this investigation has fundamentally transformed from rescue to recovery, subscribe to Crime Uncovered and turn on notifications. We cover breaking developments in cold cases and unsolved mysteries. We analyze evidence. We examine timelines. We follow where facts lead rather than speculation. Every detail matters. Every piece of evidence tells part of the story. Every digital footprint reveals something about what happened. If you want to understand how investigations evolve from day 1 to day 30, how technology tracks movement through desert terrain, how cell tower data creates maps of where people traveled, hit that like button right now and let us in comments what you think these coordinates mean. Because understanding the shift from massive public search to targeted coordinate-based mission is essential to understanding where this case goes next. Now let me tell you what happened that investigators are not publicly discussing. Ashley Banfield broke this story exclusively on her show Drop Dead Serious. She spoke with a law enforcement source directly connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, someone with access to operational details, someone who knows what missions have been conducted and why, and that source revealed something significant. The Pima County Sheriff's Department enlisted one of their partner agencies, another law enforcement organization in a neighboring county. They coordinated a specialized operation. They provided equipment. They gave specific instructions. Take the signal sniffer. Go to this location in the desert. Use these cell tower coordinates. Search this area. Look for a body. Not Nancy alive. Not Nancy needing rescue. Not Nancy waiting to be found. A body. The language matters. The framing matters. When law enforcement tells an agency to look for a body rather than look for a person, that reveals how they are processing the evidence 30 days in. This mission happened several days ago, before Ashley reported it, before the public knew. While everyone was focused on the visible searches in Pima County, a separate operation was quietly unfolding in a neighboring county. The partner agency took the signal sniffer out to a remote desert location. They deployed the technology. They searched based on coordinates provided by Pima County investigators. They spent hours scanning terrain, looking for electronic signatures. They did not find Nancy. The search yielded nothing. No pacemaker signal, no evidence, no breakthrough. But the fact that this mission happened tells us something critical about where this investigation stands 30 days after Nancy disappeared. It tells us investigators have intelligence, specific intelligence. Data that points to a location remote enough and significant enough to justify deploying specialized technology to a different county. It tells us the investigation has officially transitioned to parallel operations. Track 1 continues searching for Nancy alive. Track 2 now operates on the assumption they may be searching for remains. It tells us that after 30 days, statistical probability and investigative experience are forcing law enforcement to confront possibilities they hoped would never become reality. Let me explain what a signal sniffer does and why cell tower coordinates matter to understanding this mission. Nancy Guthrie has a pacemaker, an electronic medical device implanted in her chest that regulates her heart rhythm. It monitors her heartbeat. It corrects irregularities. It keeps her alive. That pacemaker requires power to function. Power comes from an internal battery. Medical device batteries are designed to last years, 5 years, 7 years, sometimes longer depending on usage patterns and device specifications. The critical detail that makes this technology relevant to the search is this. The pacemaker does not require Nancy to be alive to continue operating. Even if Nancy is deceased, that pacemaker continues functioning. The battery continues powering the device. The electronics continue operating. The transmitter continues broadcasting. Think about that for a moment. Every electronic device with wireless capability constantly sends signals. Your phone searches for Wi-Fi networks even when you are not actively trying to connect. Your laptop broadcasts Bluetooth availability even when nothing is paired. Your smartwatch advertises its presence to devices it recognizes. This is how wireless technology works. Constant broadcasting, constant searching, constant advertisement of availability. Nancy's pacemaker does the same thing. It was paired with her iPhone through Bluetooth connectivity. An app on her phone synced data about her heart rhythm, collected information, monitored patterns, alerted her if something required attention. When Nancy was taken from her home at 1:47 a.m. on February 1st, that connection broke. Her pacemaker separated from her iPhone. The Bluetooth pairing disconnected, but the pacemaker did not stop transmitting. It continued sending out signals, continued advertising its presence, continued searching for the devices it was configured to connect with, continued broadcasting what engineers call advertisements. Hello, I am here. Are there any devices I recognize? Can anyone hear me? Are you there? That signal broadcasts continuously, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As long as the battery has power, that pacemaker keeps transmitting. A signal sniffer is technology specifically designed to detect those transmissions. It sends out what engineers call a handshake, a response that says, "I hear you, I am listening. Tell me where you are." The pacemaker responds. The signal sniffer locates the source, triangulates position, pinpoints where that electronic signature is broadcasting from. Range limitations exist. Bluetooth signals typically reach maybe 30 feet, maybe 50 feet under optimal conditions, maybe 100 feet if conditions are perfect and nothing interferes. But in open desert terrain with no obstructions, with specialized receiving equipment, with the right atmospheric conditions, that range can extend, can be detected from greater distances than normal consumer technology would suggest. That is what the helicopter was doing over Pima County in the days after Nancy disappeared, flying search patterns with signal sniffer technology, scanning thousands of acres of desert, looking for Nancy's pacemaker broadcasting from somewhere in that vast terrain. They searched extensively, covered massive areas, found nothing. But then something changed the search parameters. One day after news broke publicly about the signal sniffer being deployed in Pima County, law enforcement sent it to a neighboring county. Not randomly, not to search another general area, to search a specific location, based on cell tower coordinates. Let me explain what cell tower data reveals and why coordinates matter. Every phone connects to cell towers constantly. When you make a call, send a text, use data, your phone communicates with the nearest tower. That tower records the interaction. Which phone connected? Which tower received the signal? Which sector of the tower? How strong the signal was? What time the connection occurred? How long it lasted? All of that information gets logged, stored, maintained by carriers for billing purposes, for network optimization, for regulatory compliance. Law enforcement with proper warrants can access that data, can reconstruct where phones traveled, can create maps showing movement patterns, can identify when someone was in a particular location. The data is not GPS precise. Cell towers do not pinpoint exact addresses, but they create zones, areas where a phone must have been to connect to that particular tower at that particular time. If a phone connected to Tower A at 2:15 a.m., investigators know that phone was within range of Tower A, maybe 1 mile radius, maybe 2 miles depending on terrain and tower specifications. If that same phone then connected to Tower B at 2:30 a.m., they know it moved, traveled from Tower A's coverage area to Tower B's coverage area in 15 minutes. That creates a path, a direction, a speed estimate. If that phone then stopped connecting to towers for an extended period, that suggests either the phone was turned off, the battery died, or the phone entered an area with no coverage. All of this creates intelligence, creates understanding of movement, creates coordinates pointing to where someone traveled after leaving a particular location. That is what cell tower coordinates represent in this investigation. Electronic evidence, digital footprints, Data showing that someone's phone traveled from Nancy's neighborhood toward a specific area in a neighboring county during the window when she disappeared. We do not know whose phone. Ashley's source cannot reveal that for operational security reasons. Cannot compromise ongoing investigation by disclosing whose communications are being analyzed. We do not know which neighboring county. Cannot narrow the search area publicly because that information remains protected. We do not know what additional intelligence combined with those coordinates to create enough certainty to deploy the signal sniffer to that location. But we know investigators believed something significant was in that desert location. Believed it strongly enough to coordinate with another county's law enforcement. Believed it enough to dedicate specialized equipment and personnel. Believed it enough to frame the mission explicitly as searching for a body rather than searching for Nancy alive. They searched the coordinates. They deployed the technology. They found nothing, which tells us multiple possibilities. Either the intelligence was incomplete, or the search area needs to be expanded beyond the initial coordinate radius, or Nancy is not where the data suggested she might be, or the pacemaker signal cannot penetrate whatever is concealing Nancy's location. But it confirms absolutely that this investigation is now operating on two parallel tracks. Track 1. Continue pursuing rescue. Continue analyzing tips suggesting Nancy might be alive somewhere. Continue hoping against statistical probability that 30 days does not mean what 30 days usually means in cases involving elderly individuals with serious medical conditions who require daily medication. Track 2. Begin recovery operations. Deploy cadaver dogs. Search high-probability areas using methodology designed to locate remains rather than living persons. Use technology like signal sniffers that can detect electronic signatures regardless of whether Nancy is alive. Dr. Tracy Sargent understands this transition better than most people. She has worked between 2,000 and 3,000 missing persons cases over her career. She runs forensic investigations and analysis. She deploys 3 cadaver dogs. She holds a PhD in psychology focusing on criminal behavior. She explained that week 4 is when authorities must begin confronting recovery probability alongside rescue hope. Nancy is 84 years old. Advanced age creates vulnerabilities that younger missing persons do not face. Her body cannot withstand extended exposure, cannot survive without proper nutrition and hydration, cannot maintain core temperature in extreme conditions. She has serious medical conditions requiring daily medication. Sheriff Chris Nano stated publicly that going without her medications for extended periods could be life-threatening. We do not know specifically what medications or what conditions, but the characterization suggests cardiac issues or diabetes or other conditions where medication interruption creates rapid deterioration. She has mobility limitations. According to dispatcher audio from the initial missing persons call, Nancy could not walk 50 yards without assistance, could not flee, could not travel significant distances on foot, could not escape if held somewhere against her will. 30 days without medication, 30 days without proper medical care, 30 days of whatever conditions she has been subjected to. The statistical reality after 30 days for someone with Nancy's profile is that recovery becomes more likely than rescue. Not certain. Statistics are not destiny. Outliers exist. Miracles happen. But probability matters. Experience matters. Data from thousands of previous cases matters. And that data shows that after 30 days, elderly missing persons with serious medical conditions who require daily medication have very low survival rates. The numbers are stark. The reality is harsh. That does not mean investigators stop hoping. Does not mean they abandon rescue efforts. Does not mean they have given up on finding Nancy alive. It means they adapt strategy to match both hope and probability. Means they run parallel investigations. Means they prepare for outcomes they do not want to face while continuing to pursue outcomes they desperately hope for. Dr. Sargent explained that search methodology fundamentally changes when you transition from looking for someone alive to looking for remains. When searching for someone alive, you focus on where they could reach, where they might seek shelter, where resources exist, where someone with limited mobility could travel or survive. You search trails, paths, roads, structures, places accessible to someone on foot, areas where someone might be visible, locations where someone could signal for help. When searching for remains, methodology shifts entirely. You focus on where someone else could reach while transporting a body, where vehicles can access, where concealment is possible, where detection is unlikely. You focus on remote areas, Terrain difficult for casual hikers. Locations far from roads but accessible enough that someone with a vehicle could reach them. Places where disturbed ground or unusual scents might indicate something buried or concealed. The Arizona desert presents specific challenges for both types of search. Vast terrain. Pima County alone covers an area the size of Connecticut and Rhode Island combined. 9,000 square miles. Thousands of acres of open desert. Mountains, valleys, remote areas that see no human activity for months at a time. Shifting sand. Wind. Weather patterns that erase evidence. Desert storms that redistribute terrain. Temperatures that accelerate decomposition. Unlike wooded areas where turned earth stands out clearly, where broken branches indicate passage, where trail signs are obvious, desert terrain can hide evidence through completely natural processes within days. Rain washes away tracks. Wind covers footprints. Sand shifts and settles, making recently disturbed ground look identical to undisturbed areas. Cadaver dogs become essential in those conditions. They detect scent that humans cannot perceive. They identify locations where remains were even if they have been moved. They alert on evidence that visual searches would miss entirely. Dr. Sargent explained that decomposition scent can last hundreds of years. She has deployed dogs to Revolutionary War battlefields. They have located soldiers buried 250 years ago. The scent absorbs into soil, bonds with minerals, remains detectable across centuries. But live person scent dissipates rapidly, 48 to 72 hours maximum under optimal conditions. In desert heat, even faster, hours sometimes, minutes if conditions are harsh, which is why we have not seen cadaver dogs deployed extensively yet, despite 30 days passing. If Nancy is still alive somewhere, her scent trail vanished weeks ago. Tracking dogs cannot follow trails that no longer exist. The dogs that become relevant now are human remains detection dogs, trained specifically to alert on blood, decomposition, bone, anything indicating human remains were present at some point. The challenge Dr. Sargent emphasized is that these dogs alert on all human remains, not just remains related to crimes. Blood from any source triggers alerts. Menstruation products, kitchen accidents, nosebleeds, which means investigators must interpret what alerts mean, why they occurred, whether they relate to the crime being investigated or represent unrelated biological material. But in remote desert areas, away from residential zones, away from hiking trails, away from any legitimate reason for human biological material to be present, a cadaver dog alert becomes extraordinarily significant. Because there should be no reason for human remains scent in locations where humans rarely go. That is part of why the signal sniffer mission to coordinates in a neighboring county desert location matters so profoundly. If they can locate Nancy's pacemaker, they locate Nancy, or they locate where Nancy was, or they locate evidence that advances understanding of what happened. Even finding nothing advances investigation, eliminates areas, focuses resources elsewhere, narrows possibilities. But the fact that coordinates exist, that intelligence pointed law enforcement to a specific neighboring county location, that they believed it worth deploying technology and coordinating multi-agency operations. That tells us investigators have evidence the public has not seen, data we do not fully understand, intelligence that makes them believe they can narrow search parameters to specific geographic locations. Now let me tell you what happened today that shows how Nancy's family is processing this 30-day reality. For 30 days, the memorial sat at Nancy's driveway without family. Yellow flowers wilting in Arizona heat, replaced by strangers. Messages from people who never met Nancy but feel her absence like a wound. Annie could not go there, could not face the physical manifestation of what everyone fears is true. Savannah was in Italy, broadcasting normalcy to millions while everything inside screamed. But today, day 30, something broke. They came down the driveway together. Savannah, Annie, Tommaso, walking toward the memorial like walking toward a grave. Annie carried yellow flowers, fresh blooms to add to the hundreds dying there. And then she saw them. The cards, the messages, the handwritten notes from strangers. "We are praying for Nancy. Bring her home. We love you." To a mother she might never see again. The sound started low, a keening. The sound grief makes when it can no longer be contained. Annie collapsed into Tommaso, not crying, wailing. 30 days of holding it together. 30 days of answering questions and enduring speculation and watching her mother's face on every news channel. Gone. Just gone into sound, into grief, into the horrible reality that 30 days means something different than day one. Savannah stood apart, silent, watching her sister break. They left flowers, they left a card. "Mama, we miss you so much, our hearts are broken. We are standing on ash, on scorched earth. But Mom, though we are surrounded by so much darkness and uncertainty, our love burns bright." 3 names signed: Annie, Tommaso, Olmo. Savannah's name absent. Not because she loves less, because grief builds walls, because functioning requires boundaries, because signing means accepting, and accepting means admitting 30 days might become forever. Only Fox and News Nation captured this moment. The rest of the press gone, the world moved on, Iran dominates headlines now. But Savannah posted on Instagram anyway. "Please don't stop praying and hoping with us." Even as investigators search desert with coordinates for a body, even as 30 days becomes the threshold where hope and probability diverge. Please keep hoping, because they cannot stop. Now let me tell you about the fundamental changes in how this investigation is being conducted after 30 days. The FBI command post relocated from Tucson to Phoenix, not because they are withdrawing from the case, not because investigation is ending, because operational needs have changed. The first 30 days required massive boots-on-ground presence, search teams, coordination of local and federal resources, visible activity demonstrating commitment to finding Nancy. But that phase has concluded. The physical searching in obvious locations has been completed. The immediate response has transitioned to methodical evidence analysis. That work happens more effectively in Phoenix, where FBI has established infrastructure, laboratory facilities, data analysis capabilities, technical resources that do not exist in temporary command posts. Michael Ruiz from Fox News reported that sources confirmed the case was formally handed off this morning to a specialized task force. Pima County homicide detectives working alongside FBI agents, a smaller dedicated team focused exclusively on Nancy Guthrie. 400 agents were reportedly working this case at peak deployment. That number has drawn down dramatically. This is normal, expected, necessary. Law enforcement cannot maintain 400 agents on a single case indefinitely. Other crimes occur. Other investigations require attention. Resources must be allocated based on current operational needs. But the task force remains. Detectives assigned specifically and exclusively to Nancy. FBI agents dedicated to this investigation until it concludes. Resources focused on the evidence that matters most. Pima County Sheriff's Department released a carefully worded statement. This remains an active investigation and will continue until Nancy Guthrie is located or all leads have been exhausted. The Pima County Sheriff's Department is refocusing resources to detectives specifically assigned to this case. As leads are developed and resolved, resource allocation may fluctuate. Translation: massive visible presence is ending. Methodical detective work is beginning. Resources will scale up or down based on what evidence reveals. What that means practically is that the deputy who guarded Nancy's house 24 hours a day is gone. Left Saturday according to multiple reports. No longer maintaining constant visible presence at the property. The marked sheriff's vehicles that have been parked at Nancy's residence for 30 days are departing. The house is being returned to the family for their use, which creates confusion because Sheriff Nanos told media on February 2nd that the house was released as a crime scene, no longer needed for evidence collection, available to the family. So why is it only now being returned if it was released 4 weeks ago? Mixed messaging, unclear communication. Confusion about whether released as a crime scene means family can actually access it or just means law enforcement has finished processing it. But the practical effect is that visible police presence at Nancy's home has ended. No deputy standing guard, no marked vehicles maintaining security, no physical reminder that this is an active crime scene. The boots-on-ground search has concluded. The detective work continues behind closed doors. Task force investigators are now systematically reviewing more than 10,000 hours of video footage collected from the area. Security cameras, ring doorbells, traffic cameras, dashboard cameras, every frame being examined for anything relevant. They are processing more than 40,000 tips received through FBI hotlines and Sheriff's Department lines. Every tip logged, every lead examined, every piece of information cross-referenced against known facts. They are analyzing digital evidence, cell tower data, internet activity, social media, electronic footprints that reveal where people were and what they were doing during relevant time windows. They are pursuing genetic genealogy on DNA collected from the glove found approximately 2 miles from Nancy's home. The glove that appears to match visually the gloves worn by the masked man in doorbell footage. The glove that contained male DNA that does not match anyone known to be in close contact with Nancy. This is where cases get solved, not through dramatic breakthrough moments captured on television, through patient systematic examination of evidence, through data analysis revealing patterns, through following digital trails one connection at a time, through genetic genealogy creating family trees that narrow suspect pools from millions to hundreds to dozens to individuals. The Idaho murders case demonstrates this timeline. Brian Kohberger was not arrested during the massive initial search, not during the visible boots-on-ground phase. 6 weeks later, during the quiet detective work phase, when analysts connected DNA evidence to genealogy databases to a specific family tree to one individual. The same process is happening here. The same methodical investigation. The same faith that evidence will reveal truth even when that truth takes weeks or months to emerge fully. February 13th, 12 days after Nancy disappeared. Luke Daly was driving home when he noticed the sheriff vehicles. Not random patrol, following him deliberately. 2 vehicles maintaining distance but clearly tracking his movement. He pulled into Culver's parking lot thinking maybe they wanted to pass. They did not pass. They surrounded him. Step out of the vehicle. Hands on the car, cuffs, backseat of a police cruiser, no explanation, no Miranda rights, just detention. Luke watched through the window as more vehicles arrived. FBI logos, unmarked sedans, agents in tactical gear, his silver Range Rover being photographed from every angle. He asked what this was about. No answer. He asked if he needed a lawyer. Detectives will talk to you. He asked if he was under arrest. You're being detained. That word. Detained. Not arrested. The legal gray zone where you are not free to leave but not technically charged with anything. Luke sat in that police car for hours watching his vehicle get loaded onto a flatbed, license plate covered, taken away. He knew why. The internet had decided. Luke Daly matched the masked man, 5'9", average build, lives 2 miles from Nancy's house, therefore guilty. Except Luke Daly was not at Nancy's house that night, was not anywhere near her neighborhood, has phone data proving it, has witnesses, has alibis. Check my location data, he kept saying. It will prove I wasn't there. The interrogation felt like fishing. Questions designed to prompt admissions. Dates and times thrown out hoping he would slip. But there was nothing to slip on. Because Luke Daly had nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. They processed his Range Rover for days, swabbed every surface, tested for DNA and blood and trace evidence. Found nothing. And under Fourth Amendment law, when evidence seized under warrant contains no evidentiary value, it must be returned. They gave him his car back, which means forensically, scientifically, legally, Luke Daly's vehicle contained nothing connecting him to this case. But here is the question that creates confusion. Annie Guthrie's car was seized before Luke's. Annie who was cleared publicly February 16th. Annie whose alibi was verified. Annie who Sheriff Nanos said explicitly is not a suspect. Her car has not been returned. Luke, detained and suspected, got his vehicle back within weeks. Annie, cleared and eliminated, still does not have hers. The sheriff told Fox News that Annie's car remains part of the investigation. What does that mean when the car's owner has been cleared? We do not know, cannot know. But the contradiction sits there unexplained 30 days in. Luke's mother, Mary Chapman Daly, also gave her first public interview this week. Described FBI arriving at her home with a search warrant. Spending 6 hours methodically searching every room, detaining her in a SWAT vehicle outside while they worked. She said agents broke doors that were locked, did not ask for keys, did not wait for cooperation, just forced entry to examine what was behind locked doors. She had no idea initially this related to Luke, thought it was about Nancy, about searching for evidence in the general area, about checking all properties within a radius. When asked if FBI explained why they were there, she said they provided minimal information, just that this related to the Nancy Guthrie investigation and they had a warrant to search the property. Both Luke and his mother emphasized they want Nancy found, want to help however possible, want this solved and want whoever took Nancy held accountable. But Luke admitted he does not trust the FBI to the extent that he worried sitting in that police car that he might be framed. That pressure on this high-profile case might lead to wrongful accusation just to close the investigation. That fear is not irrational given how online speculation targeted him, given how many people examined doorbell footage and decided with certainty he must be involved based on nothing more than general appearance similarities. Now let me tell you about the doorbell footage revelation that fundamentally changes how we understand this crime. Law enforcement sources confirmed to multiple reporters over the past week that the images of the masked man captured on Nancy's doorbell camera come from 2 different days. Not just 1:47 a.m. on February 1st when Nancy was taken, an earlier date, days before. The specific date has not been disclosed. He was there before, casing the property, observing, planning. This is not random crime, not opportunistic behavior, not someone who saw an opportunity and acted impulsively. This is targeted stalking, reconnaissance, deliberate preparation over multiple days. Dr. Tracy Sargent explained that this revelation changes her psychological profile of the offender significantly, changes how she thinks about where Nancy might be, changes assessment of who this person is and how they operate. Someone who cases a property multiple times before acting demonstrates organization, patience, calculation, someone comfortable operating in that area, someone who understands they can approach a property, stand in front of a doorbell camera, and not trigger immediate alarm because their presence seems unremarkable or explainable. Someone who knew Nancy lived alone, knew she had mobility limitations, knew when family members typically visited, knew when she would be most vulnerable, knew enough about her life and patterns to plan an operation that maximized success probability. The fact that he appeared on 2 different days means he invested time, planned carefully, made multiple reconnaissance trips to gather information, observed enough to understand security systems, routines, vulnerabilities. That level of planning suggests local knowledge, familiarity with the area, comfort operating in the Catalina Foothills neighborhood without appearing suspicious to neighbors or drawing attention, which aligns with what Dr. Sargent explained about behavioral psychology and geographic profiling. Most criminals do not travel hours away repeatedly to case properties. The time investment becomes too great. The risk of being noticed increases with each visit. Criminals operate close to areas they know well, where they have legitimate reasons to be present, where their face is familiar enough that neighbors do not question why they are there. The 2-day doorbell revelation supports the theory that whoever took Nancy likely lives or works within relatively close proximity to her home, probably within the immediate Catalina Foothills area or adjacent neighborhoods, knows the area well enough to navigate confidently, has routine reasons to be there that provide cover for reconnaissance activities. Someone who works in the area, provides services to residents, delivers packages or mail, performs maintenance or repairs, has legitimate business that makes their vehicle familiar and their presence unremarkable. That is the profile emerging from the 2-day casing revelation. Local, familiar, comfortable. Someone who blends into the neighborhood landscape so completely that appearing on doorbell cameras does not immediately trigger recognition. Now let me address the Ring camera footage from 2.5 miles away that has created confusion and conflicting reports. Friday, February 27th, neighbors living 2.5 miles from Nancy's home reported seeing a car on their Ring camera at 2:36 a.m., 8 minutes after Nancy's pacemaker stopped transmitting at 2:28 a.m. That car traveled a back road leading from Nancy's neighborhood toward East River Road, a route someone might take if trying to avoid major intersections and traffic cameras, a path that provides more privacy than main thoroughfares. Former FBI Special Agent Maureen O'Connell called this footage potentially a deal-breaker, said this could be everything. The car appeared to be a Kia Soul based on the brief footage captured in darkness. Possible escape route, possible suspect vehicle, possible break in the case. Then TMZ reported an FBI source called it a dead lead. Not relevant, not connected, not the suspect vehicle. But Michael Ruiz from Fox News reported Monday that investigators are reportedly still looking into that Ring camera video, still analyzing, still considering whether it connects. So which assessment is accurate, critical evidence or dead lead? We do not know. 4 days have passed without public announcement, without description of a vehicle to watch for, without request for tips about Kia Souls. In the Idaho murders case, investigators released images of a white Hyundai Elantra within weeks, asked public for help identifying that vehicle. That outreach led directly to identifying Brian Koberger's car. That became the break that solved the case. If the Ring camera footage from 2.5 miles away captured the suspect vehicle leaving Nancy's neighborhood, we would expect similar public outreach. Description of the car, request for information, be on the lookout alert. The fact that has not happened suggests either the car is not connected or investigators are pursuing it quietly without public disclosure, because revealing interest might compromise investigative strategy. Watch this space. If that footage matters, if that car connects to Nancy's disappearance, we will eventually learn about it when arrests are made or when investigation concludes and details become public. The pacemaker is still broadcasting. Right now, this moment, as you watch this, Nancy's pacemaker is sending signals, advertisements, electronic pulses saying, "I am here, where are you?" Somewhere in Arizona desert or structure or vehicle, that signal continues. 30 days of transmission, 30 days of electronic evidence waiting to be found. The investigators who flew to that neighboring county with coordinates believe they can find it, believe the evidence exists, believe Nancy can be located. They searched those coordinates and found nothing, so they will search elsewhere. They will follow the next lead, analyze the next piece of cell tower data, deploy the signal sniffer to the next high-probability area. They will continue because the pacemaker is still calling out, and somewhere someone knows. Someone knows where Nancy is. Someone knows what happened after 1:47 a.m. when that masked man disabled the camera. Someone knows why 41 minutes passed before her pacemaker stopped transmitting. Someone who cased her house on 2 different days knows. Someone whose phone pinged towers toward that neighboring county knows. Someone who understood Nancy's life well enough to know exactly when she would be most vulnerable knows. The DNA from the glove is being analyzed. Genetic genealogy building family trees, narrowing possibilities from millions to hundreds to dozens. The 10,000 hours of video footage is being reviewed, frame by frame, looking for that one vehicle, that one face, that one detail missed in early passes. The 40,000 tips are being cross-referenced against phone data, against alibis, against the timeline that proves some people could not have done this and suggests others could. The evidence is building. The case is narrowing. The answer is coming. But for Annie standing at her mother's memorial wailing into her husband's shoulder, the answer is not coming fast enough. For Savannah posting, "Please keep hoping," while investigators search for a body, probability and hope are tearing her apart. For Nancy's family facing day 31, then day 40, then day 60, every sunrise without answers is another day stolen. Subscribe to Crime Uncovered for updates as this investigation continues, as DNA results emerge, as the task force narrows suspects, as the search for Nancy Guthrie moves toward resolution. Hit that like button if you believe those cell tower coordinates will eventually lead investigators to answers. Tell us in comments, what do you think the coordinates represent? Where do you think the evidence is pointing? If you know anything, call 1-800-CALL-FBI. $1 million reward from the family. $50,000 from the FBI. Anonymous tips accepted. Because somewhere, Nancy's pacemaker is still broadcasting, still waiting, still calling out, and someone knows where that signal is coming from. Day 30 is not the end. It is the transition. From hope to probability. From rescue to recovery. From searching everywhere to searching where the evidence points. The coordinates exist. The data is real. The intelligence is specific. They searched and found nothing. So they will search again. Until Nancy comes home.